Iran has warned of risks of expansion of war beyond West Asia. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi warned that in case the war expands, its harmful effects will not be limited only to West Asia. This as the country plans to retaliate against Israel's October 26th attack that killed 4 of its soldiers. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has maintained that a potential ceasefire in Gaza and Lebanon could affect its response.
The world should know that in case of the expansion of war, the harmful effects will not be limited only to the West Asia region. Insecurity and instability can spread to other regions even far away.
Iran's warning comes after Donald Trump's victory in the US election. Araghchi said Iran respected Americans' right to elect the president of their choice. He denied Washington's charges that Tehran was linked to an alleged plot to kill Trump, labeling it a third-rate comedy manufactured by scriptwriters, and called for confidence building between Iran and US. Iranian Vice President for Strategic Affairs Mohammad Javad Zarif urged Trump to reconsider the maximum pressure policy he pursued against Tehran during his first term. Trump must show he is not following the wrong policies of the past, Zarif said, a veteran diplomat who previously served as Iran's foreign minister. Now, Zarif helped seal a 2015 nuclear accord between Tehran and Western powers, including the US. But the deal, however, was terminated in 2018 after the US, under Trump's rule, unilaterally withdrew from it under Trump, who later reimposed sanctions on Tehran. All right, for more on this, we are now being joined by Dr. Mir Javed Anfar, Professor of Iranian Politics at Reichman University in Israel. He joins us live from Tel Aviv. Professor, thank you so much for joining me right here on WION World is One. Pleasure to have you here with us. Sir, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Now, I just want to go over the statements which have come in from Iran. He's denying charges of having any involvement in Trump's assassination. Iran had no hand in it. They made it clear, calling it a bad joke and, a cheap comedy is the way they've perhaps referred to it. They've also called for confidence building between US and Iran. Do you feel this is a reflection of the recent results in the US with Trump now set to come into the Oval Office?
Yes, it is. I think the Islamic Republic of Iran is concerned that compared to President Biden, President Trump is going to undertake a much more aggressive policy towards the Islamic Republic. We could be talking about new sanctions against Chinese oil companies and other companies that continue to buy Iranian oil. Despite the existing sanctions, some companies in China are still apparently buying oil. We could see the US now taking a harder line against anybody who continues to defy the sanctions, and it is possible that we could see the United States also working to further isolate Iran in the international community, especially in the Persian Gulf region, where countries such as the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia are very concerned about Iran's posturing in the Middle East, especially its support for terrorist groups such as Hamas and Hezbollah, who the Persian Gulf countries, most of them, see as terrorist and destabilizing organizations. Therefore, I think the Islamic Republic is trying to position itself for the new administration in the United States, cognizant of the fact that its economy and diplomatically is weaker than when Trump left office in January 2021.
Doctor, also the other development which came in from Qatar. Now, several news agencies reported on Saturday that Qatar had agreed with the US to tell Hamas to, shut office and leave. Of course, Qatar has clarified that that was inaccurate reporting and that is not true. But the fact still remains that Qatar has said that it is not going to be taking part of any ceasefire talks. They said they've stalled them. They've not pulled out completely. Nevertheless, it's a complete pivot shift out of what we've seen in the past year, more than a year, in fact, since October 7th till October and, till just recently, till a few days back. And again, this is something which has happened after the results in the US presidential polls. Do you feel this is again a Trump effect? And if it is so, is there lesser ambition now for a ceasefire now that Trump is set to come in?
Actually, I think there will be more ambition for a ceasefire because President Trump wants the war to end. And I think so. In Israel, the government of Prime Minister Netanyahu will now be under bigger pressure to try to wrap up the current ongoing wars by January. President Trump wants stability in the Middle East. He doesn't want he sees the current war as having gone on for too long. So he wants Israel to do what it can to finish the war. In terms of the Qataris, look, the Qataris are concerned that hosting Hamas and then Ismail Haniyeh, who was killed in Tehran, according to foreign newspaper reports by Israel, is buried in Qatar. There's going to be a Republican Senate now. The Republicans are far stronger now than at any time in recent history in the U.S. political establishment. So the Qataris are worried that their close relations with Hamas are going to cost them. So they're trying to cut their losses and trying to position themselves against anybody who's going to accuse Qatar of being a sponsor of terrorism, because that could carry a very big price tag for the Qatari economy.
So in a way, if I were to just combine, the last two, answers of yours, Iran is wanting to make an attempt to, straighten itself as per Trump's vision. Qatar is trying to do the same. It wants to distance itself from that immediate role that it was playing in attempting for a ceasefire, even though they know that Trump wants to end the war, whether it's in West Asia, whether it's in Europe. But even then, it is trying to distance itself from Hamas officials as far as the ceasefire talks are concerned. And on the other hand, there was also this report which came in soon after the results were announced in the US that the Houthis have announced a ceasefire. Now, that again has been contested. A lot of sources are saying that is not true. Houthis have not announced any such ceasefire. But then again, the Houthis have given out this statement that Trump can avoid further damage to the US economy if it is able to stop Israel. Again, it's a different stance from what they've shown till now, which has been extremely aggressive. Do you consider this again another effect of the recent election results?
Well, it's an open secret that all of America's allies in this region, Israel and the other Persian Gulf and other Arab countries such as Jordan and the Persian Gulf states, all of them favor Trump. I personally would not have voted for Trump if I were an American citizen because of my own priorities. But this is not about liberals in this region. We are very small in this region. And then 67% of Israelis want Trump. The rest is a minority. In this region, it is believed generally that you need a more muscular approach from the United States to confront Iran and its allies, and that America has to take a far more realist approach and a far more aggressive approach to confront the Islamic Republic of Iran. Now, President Trump took a very aggressive approach towards the Iranians when he was in office. It is assumed that he's going to do the same now. And it seems that many countries in this region who are allies of the United States are tremendously happy that President Trump has been elected. And it seems that the Islamic Republic of Iran is very concerned that President Trump is elected because of October 7th, because of the consequences, and because they believe that Trump is the man who killed the chief terrorist Qasem Soleimani, and he could do it again. So overall, I think in this region, there's much satisfaction among the rulers and allies of the United States that President Trump has been elected, and they want to reap the benefits of this because they believe Trump is the right man to confront the Islamic Republic. And with the policies of the Islamic Republic in this region, there's not, the regime in Tehran has not left many other choices for the regional countries. If I may add one other point to what I'm saying, if I have the time, there is, I don't know the numbers, but there's also certain percentage of Iranians, it could be as high as 40, it could be as high as 50 or 60%, who want Trump to be elected because they are sick and tired of Iran being isolated, and they don't see anybody else capable of confronting the Iranian regime, which is making their lives more miserable than Trump. They believe that Trump is the right man to confront the Iranian regime because the Iranian people are sick and tired of living in isolation and sanctions.
I hear your point. Dr. Mir Javed Anfar, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. You made some pertinent points, and definitely there have been big statements which have come in from different leaders across the world, and it hasn't even been a week since the results came in for the presidential election. So it is going to be a pivot shift that we are going to be seeing in geopolitics and the overall stance of different countries when it comes to the US. Thank you so much for joining me. That was Dr. Mir Javed Anfar joining me from Tel Aviv.
Thank you.